Even if it's sunny out where you live, today we're predicting rain. R.A.I.N, R-A-I-N, is an acronym first coined by meditation expert Michelle McDonald and is a way for you to bring a mindful approach to the stress you're feeling. Let's look at the steps. R, recognize what's going on. A, accept what's happening. I, investigate with compassion. N, no personalization of the experience. Here it is in practice. R, recognize what's going on. It doesn't do any good to deny or pretend that you aren't feeling what you're feeling or thinking what you're feeling. Recognizing what's going on means consciously acknowledging the thoughts, mindsets, perspectives, beliefs, feelings, and behaviors that are affecting us. The first step is to pause and ask yourself, what am I experiencing right now? Check your thoughts, feelings, and sensations. Just this step of the process alone is enough to help you start to control your emotions rather than having them control you. And if you're finding that you're having trouble accurately naming what you're feeling, so descriptors beyond sad, mad, or bad, you can easily find an emotions list on the internet. A, accept what's happening. How to use this with yourself. For most of us, when we have an uncomfortable feeling or experience, we react in one of three ways. We numb our feelings, we ignore our feelings, we judge our feelings. None of those are accepting what's happening. In fact, they're all the opposite of that. Let's start with number one, numbing our feelings. This can look like eating too much or too little, drinking alcohol, being constantly busy, or even always trying to help others. These are all ways in which we're doing something else so that we don't have to feel what we feel. Let's look at number two. We ignore our feelings. When you think about it, our emotions can feel confusing and sometimes unnecessary. What's the point of feeling worried if I can't do anything about it? And so, in the face of this challenge, we often decide to ignore our feelings and just pay attention to what's outside of us rather than what's inside of us. And finally, let's examine number three. We judge our feelings. We all have emotions, and we also all have meta emotions. What's that? That's how we feel about how we feel. It sounds complicated, but it isn't. Here's what it can sound like. I feel guilty that I'm not more excited about tonight's happy hour. I feel relieved that I'm not more disappointed that we didn't win this project. It's basically us judging ourselves for how we feel. And then we judge ourselves for judging ourselves, and then you see how this can become a vicious cycle, right? So when you're feeling stressed, instead of numbing, ignoring, or judging how you feel, just accept that your feelings are happening, accept them for what they are, data. They're telling us that something important is happening. Offer yourself an encouraging, accepting phrase like, yes, I am feeling stressed right now, and that's okay. I investigate with compassion. How to use this with yourself? So you recognize that you're feeling anxious, stressed, overwhelmed, or pressured, and you're willing to accept that it's happening and that it's just a feeling. What next? Investigate what's going on. Start by asking yourself, what's going on? And then don't judge your answer. And then check in with your body. Where am I feeling this physically? Where in my body do I notice something? Again, no judgment. Next, check in with your emotions. What is this feeling trying to tell me? What's it trying to bring to my attention? And stay kind and compassionate. Then check in with your thoughts. What am I thinking? What am I trying not to think about? What's a story I'm making up about how I feel right now? And again, don't argue with yourself. Just see where your inquiry leads you. N, no personalization of the experience. Let's say you're feeling angry today. That doesn't make you an angry person. Or let's say you're feeling anxious right now. That doesn't mean you're an anxious person. You're not your feelings, your beliefs, or your stories. They're not you. They're a part of you, but they're not the whole you. You're not causing them. You didn't bring them on yourself. And a helpful strategy is to use distancing language to create a little space between you and your experience. You could say, I'm overwhelmed, which feels like there's very little separation between you and your emotion. Or you could say, I notice that I'm feeling overwhelmed right now, which creates some space. Or feelings of overwhelm are present for me at this moment. That's even less about who you are. And the more you recognize that, yes, you may be noticing feelings of overwhelm, Hopefully, you can also notice feelings of gratitude, care, self-compassion, curiosity, and more. Be willing to stand in the rain with yourself, and you might just find it to be very refreshing.